is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Christy Wright, Ramsey personality #1, best-selling author of the Book Business Boutique, is my co-host today. As we take your questions at 888-825-5225. The call is free, and some say the advice is worth exactly what you pay for it. 888-825-5225. Christy is also in Olympia, Washington, and is our first caller of the hour. Hi, Christy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Dave?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Okay, I'm a little nervous, so bear with me. I've been dying to have a reason to call you, and I finally do. We have a house in California that we're currently renting out. My husband's in the military. We bought the house before he joined. Mm-hmm. So we are renting it out currently. We're not making any money on it. Mm-hmm. We considered raising the rent just to make ends meet. Mm-hmm. But my question is, we're on track to move again in 6 months to New Mexico. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, we would love to be back in California, mm-hmm. Back into our hometown. Mm-hmm. Should we sell it?
Yes.
I knew he wasn't even going to let you finish, Christy.
And I knew that was going to be your answer, but I didn't know what you thought with the current market, what you thought it would be in
let's try reverse engineering it, okay? You're in the military and you're moving from city to city, and you're not going to be in California for at least 5 more years.
Correct.
And you don't own a house there. Let's pretend you don't own a house there. And you woke up one morning and thought, you know what? I'm going to go over in this little town in California and buy a rental house that I don't make any money on. Mm-hmm. You would never do that.
Right.
And yet you have.
Yeah.
So let's undo it. Sell it.
Okay, so now we currently might be profiting like $100,000. Should we just put that into something and let it sit there so when we do come back to California, we got a big chunk of change to put down on a house, or should we buy something in New Mexico?
Yeah, that'd make a great house fund. Do you have any debt, though?
No debt. We have $30,000 in the savings.
Wonderful. Okay, yeah, I would just take whatever profits you have, of course, pay your taxes on it, and set it aside in a future real estate mutual fund. Put it in a mutual fund, and just in your mind, you could kind of mark that file. That's my house fund for the future. And you can keep adding to it, by the way, if you want to. That wouldn't hurt anything. And by the way, there's not a law that says that you're necessarily going to end up back in California when you're done. 5 years ago, you never dreamed you'd be where you are right now.
That's true. We do want to be back in our hometown with family. That would be our goal. And that's why we have a smaller mortgage right now with that house. Mm-hmm. I would just be afraid of coming back to California and then getting into a bigger mortgage than before, just because of the prices.
Well, the problem is you're going to lose money between now and then, and you're going to wish you had just not had to fool with this whole thing. You're better off not long-distance landlording. You're better off not fooling with this. It doesn't make sense. And so, and we're not, I mean, I know it's your goal to be back there, but no one knows. I mean, 5 years is a long time. A lot of stuff happens in 5 years.
Yeah, things may change. Dave, you use this example a lot. So speak to the principle at play there, because regardless of the circumstances, Christy's question was about the house, but I hear you say that a lot. Okay, let's reverse engineer it. If this was not true, whatever the circumstances are, would you go do it? Mm-hmm. Would you go buy it? Would you create it? The answer is always no, right? The question answers itself.
No, not necessarily. I mean, if I didn't own a ski boat, I'd be buying one this week because I'm going to the lake this weekend.
Right, but I'm saying something that someone's trying to get out of, I guess.
Well, I mean, the point is, do I keep it or do I sell it?
Yes.
And you can ask that about anything. An investment, you can ask it about a ski boat. You can ask it about whatever. But if you look at something and you say, if I didn't already own that, I wouldn't go buy it for the very reasons that you wouldn't go buy it. You're not using it. You don't like it. It's a bad investment. It's whatever. It's the same reasons you wouldn't keep it.
That was what I was going to ask. So whenever you ask the question, if this weren't true, would you go do it? Are there ever circumstances where that doesn't apply? So you're saying it's like if the answer is yes, I would go do this today anyway, then
you'd keep it.
Then Okay.
You'd keep it.
Okay.
So for instance, let's say the first place this always comes up is with a pure investment. Like let's say you bought stock in, I'll just make up a company, Home Depot, okay? You bought stock in Home Depot. And let's say you bought it at $75 a share and it went down to $50 a share. And you say, gosh, I'm going to wait on it to come back up. And I go, well, would you buy stock at $50 a share? Yeah, because I've got real reason to think it's going to come up.
Right.
Then you would sit and wait on it to come up. And then you say, oh, no, I wouldn't buy it at $50 a share. I wish I hadn't bought it at $75 a share because I think it's going to go down. Then why are you falsely waiting on it to come back up to be your measure of when you sell it?
I got you.
You need to say, you don't analyze it based on the past, you analyze it based on the future.
Yep. Okay.
You're forward looking with your decisions and going, okay, if I wouldn't do that again now, then I don't keep doing it just because of the past.
Yeah.
And that's in investments is called a sunk cost analysis. What you've put into it, your cost, is irrelevant as to whether you keep it. Virtually irrelevant. I mean, you may have some tax implications, but it's virtually irrelevant. The investment analysis should be, and for that matter, the possession of a boat should be, the future of that. Not, my family's always had a boat, I've always had a boat. This boat's not been in the water for 10 years. It sits in my garage collecting dust. But because of the past, I'm going to continue to keep this thing in the garage.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's dumb.
Yeah.
But if you're going to use it this weekend, and you've always used it in the summer, then you would go get a boat, or you would keep your boat in that case. So you're looking forward with all of your decision-making analysis, not the past, the weight of the emotions, the weight of the cost of the item, not that. And so, if you would go and buy a small house in a small town in California because you're afraid real estate prices are going to go up, and if you didn't own it now and you would go do that now, I wouldn't suggest that. But if you would do it, then maybe you would keep that.
Different. And that's where we see it the most. Every time I host with you, it's always around real estate. I had a house. I'm holding on to the house. Now I'm renting out the house. And it's another state.
And the house is almost always inherited into that situation, meaning no one set out in those situations to be a landlord.
Right.
It's a landlord by default is where most of those questions come from.
Yes.
I became a landlord by default. I got married. We moved into her house, but we kept my old house as a rental. That's landlord by default. We're in the military. We moved. We bought a house everywhere we've been, and every time we move off, we turn it into a rental property. That's not, I decided that's going to be my rental investment strategy. It's landlord by default.
Yeah.
And it's not wise.
Yeah.
It almost never leads you to a good real estate purchase, or keeping the right piece of real estate as an investment. I own one piece of property that I formerly lived in right now, and it's a great rental, and I would buy it again as a rental. So I passed the acid test. but the house I currently live in would not be a great rental.
Yeah.
It's too stinking ridiculous, you know. So not a good idea. So it's going to be sold.
Yeah.
That's the deal. This is the Ramsey Show. Hey folks, I got a great option to help you pay for your education. The Army National Guard. The Army National Guard believes you are the next greatest generation because you have proven that even in adversity, that you have what it takes to succeed. That's why they offer benefits like tuition assistance, career training, and a paycheck to help you avoid debt. No matter what your goals are, the Army National Guard can help you get there. Visit nationalguard.com to find out more. Christy Wright, Ramsey Personality, is the co-host of The Ramsey Show today. The Christy Wright Show is where you can hear her on her podcast. It's where faith meets personal development, so you can have a bigger faith and a better life. Get the encouragement that you want and the tough love truth you need to connect with God, take control, and enjoy your life. New episodes every Tuesday on YouTube and anywhere you listen to podcasts. The Christy Wright Show. Be sure and check it out. Phone number here is 888-825-5225. Our question of the day comes from Blinds.com. They have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Means even if you mismeasure or pick the wrong color, they'll remake your blinds for free. You get free samples, free shipping, and with the new promos they run every month, you'll save even more. Use the promo code Ramsey to get the best possible deal.
Today's question comes from Naima in Maryland. My husband and I have no debt. We have a significant savings account considering our income, and my husband is super responsible with the budget. The problem is that I can't stand to budget. I hate the accountability, the time it takes, and how confusing it is. Besides for just sucking it up and telling myself to be a big girl, what can I do to shift my mindset and my actions? This is interesting to me because I'm curious. I feel like there's more there of why don't you like it, because it really shouldn't be that confusing, especially if you have no debt and you are using something simple like EveryDollar, where it's actually fun to drag and drop your expenses in their categories. And I don't know if you don't know why something matters, you don't want to do it. But if you could see the payoff of how you actually control your money versus it controlling you, then the means to the end becomes worth it. I don't know. What do you think, Dave? What else is she saying in that question?
Well, I'm not sure. There's obviously a lot of possibilities. Number one, you need to know why you're doing it, because otherwise it's not confusing. It's really not that hard. And it doesn't take that much time once you start doing it. So it really does come down to the accountability. And, so if you're self-admitting I'm a princess and I don't want to be told no, even by my own self for my own good, then you might as well eat a box of donuts at every meal and be 800 pounds. I mean, if you have no self-control whatsoever and no accountability for your own benefit. Yeah. I mean, it's just misbehavior. It's just immaturity at that point. But I don't think that's really what it is here. I'm kind of thinking that I'm a spender, and I learned to love the budget because it gives me permission to spend.
That's what I was saying. I wonder if what she's saying without saying it is her and her husband don't see the budget the same. So like for her, she doesn't feel the freedom to put in the budget what she wants to spend money and feels that we have money to spend on.
Yeah, I don't think she's got a voice in this enough. Yeah. But she hasn't bothered to take it either. She's copping out. Too. Yeah. Do I just need to be a big girl? There's a little whining going on. Yeah. So, you do need to be a big girl, and you need to speak up and say, okay, we've got plenty of room in this budget. We make plenty of money. We don't have any debt, and we're going to put some joy on the paper here.
You set the budget. You can make it look like whatever you want it to.
It's your money. Yeah. It's your money. But you're not in Congress. You can't just spend ad infinitum. You just can't keep going and going and going and going and going. That doesn't work. So, you do have to have some boundaries, but they're your boundaries. You get to set them. So, A, I think she's probably not speaking into it, doesn't feel like she's got control. B, probably nerd husband's got the budget too tight. Yes. To where there's no joy in this thing. And then C, you do have to be a big girl and suck it up. Yeah. There's part of that in there too. No whining allowed. But it might be that you just need to take control of this. It is a spending plan. Yeah. It's how you're going to spend your money. Yeah. So it's not saying, Dave Ramsey doesn't want me to ever have fun again. Oh, shut up. The whole point of living like no one else is later you can live and give like no one else. The whole point of paying a price to win is, and by the way, it's your choice. Dave Ramsey's not coming to your house and straighten you out every night when you misbehave. I mean, this is a matter of, are you going to be a grown-up and are you going to control your destiny? That's all it is. It's not me telling you. And I don't think that you need to live on beans and rice the rest of your life, and I don't hate poor people. I have been both. And it's easier when you have a little money. So I'm trying to teach you how to have a little money. It's that simple. The whining lefties are just beyond belief, but they're there. And so she's not that. Her thing is she just isn't speaking into this, and she doesn't feel power. Yeah. She doesn't feel like she's gaining power over her life. And this thing is being used by her husband to control her.
Yeah. And she points out we have no debt, we have significant savings considering our income, and my husband is super responsible with the budget. So there's all the backstory.
So why can't you stand? I can't stand to budget. You need to answer the question, why can't you stand to budget? Yeah. And she says, I don't like, it's confusing, it takes time. That's bull. It's absolute bull.
Yeah. She's not represented in the budget.
You're not represented. You don't have any say. You don't feel like you have any say. Maybe he's not being hardcore, but you're just anticipating that he is.
Right.
Maybe that's the way you were raised. I don't know what's going on here, but there's something about you need a voice in this. You need to set it. You've got some room. You need to put some fun, some joy on the paper. Enjoy your money, some of it. But then, yes, you need to have guardrails. You never make enough money to not have guardrails.
Yeah.
I mean, I make a lot of money, and I have guardrails.
Yeah.
You know, I have boundaries.
You have a plan.
They're different boundaries than when I was broke.
Yeah.
But they're still boundaries. They're still guardrails. You know, you got different situations. So, all right. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Thank you for joining us, America. We're glad you're here. Christy Wright is our co-host. If you've been paying attention to the real estate market this year, you've noticed that competition out there is really high. It's a cray-cray real estate market, in part because inventory has been hitting all-time lows. It is truly a seller's world. Now, when inventory is low, it simply means there's more buyers buying than sellers selling, which turns the pressure up, the prices up, the bidding wars start. This is not amateur hour. You don't want to be playing out there without a pro in your corner. You're going to get hammered. To win in this market, you need a pro by your side if you're buying or selling. A monkey can sell a house, but not necessarily for the right price. And lots of monkeys went and got their real estate licenses this year. A bunch of them. They've sold 2 houses in their entire life, and you're going to put your largest asset up for sale with them. Dumb idea. No, you need a pro in your corner, and you can instantly connect with one of our endorsed local providers, high-octane, high-protein real estate agents, RamseySolutions.com/agent. Find a Ramsey trusted agent near you. RamseySolutions.com/agent. Open phones, 888-825-5225. You jump in and we will talk. Linda is here in Boise, Idaho. Hi, Linda. How are you?
Hi, Dave and Christy. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
This call is probably more for Christy. My son played in the minor leagues for the Cubs, and he's also been a high school and a college pitching coach, but that's in the past, and he would like to start his own pitching consultant business. He works full-time. This would be on the side, and I would be the manager. So what do you do to get started?
I have so many follow-up questions, Linda. Is this something you want to do? I know it's his idea.
Yes,
I know he's good at it. I know all that. But let's talk about you for a second. Is this something you want to do?
Yes, I'm retired. It'll give me something to focus on. I'm all in.
Okay. What does he... what's his vision for this business? He works full time. This is a side gig. Is it just for fun? Is it to make some extra cash? Does he want to grow it to be the full-time thing?
Probably just for fun. When he goes on the baseball field, he sees young children, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, having poor pitching mechanics, which could affect their future if they go on in high school.
Linda, hang on through the break. We're going to answer your question when you get back so we can dig into this.
Yeah, we want to dig into it a little bit more and give you a good, solid answer. We'll be right back with you. This is The Ramsey Show. What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices, and they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings. Welcome to the Ramsey Show. Christy Wright, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. We're talking with Linda in Boise, Idaho. Her son is wanting to start a side gig doing pitching coaching. He has been a professional ball player, and he's asking his mom, Linda, to run the coaching business, I guess, while he does the coaching. And Christy was in the process of helping her with that.
Yeah, so Linda, let's do a quick recap. When we left and went to break, I was asking you, what's the vision for this business? So is this going to stay a side business? Does he want to grow it to full time? Let's kind of pick up there.
I think probably for now it would be a side business.
Okay.
He just got his master's in social work, so he'll be working professionally with children on that side. So this side would just be keeping into the baseball.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what jumps out to me first. There's a lot you want to plan for, especially because you would be running something that is your son is actually fulfilling the business side of it, of the coaching, consulting, pitching, that type of thing. Here's what I would get really clear on, Linda, really clear. What is he doing and what are you doing? Let's get real clear on that. What does he want you to do for the business? Is it the books? Is it the marketing? Is it the day-to-day admin work? Who's wearing which hats? So who's wearing the marketing hat? Who's wearing the accounting hat? That type of thing. Obviously, he would be doing the actual coaching. But when you say running the business, that includes a lot of things. And I'm curious if there's aspects of that he wants to do or expects to do, and then what he wants and expects you to do. And just get on the same page. I would actually write it out. I would sit down and get really clear. What does this look like to you? Let's define it. Let's write it out. And then also, what are goals, vision, expectations? How many hours does he want to dedicate to this? How much money does he want to make through this? Do those correlate? What market does he want to serve, and is that market there in your town, in your city, that type of thing? So I would just get really, really clear on what he's doing, what you're doing, and then I would baby step into it. He sounds like he's got a full plate already of things, and this may seem like a great idea that when he gets into it, he's overwhelmed. So let's just take it one step at a time, one client at a time, and you'll learn a lot when you get into it about what he wants to do more or less of, what you want to do more or less of. But I would take it slow, start small, grow slow, and then you can build on it more once you learn a little bit. I'll definitely
Linda, what do you do for a living?
She's retired.
You're retired. How old are you?
I'm a retired nurse.
You're a retired nurse. How old are you?
70.
Okay. All right. And is he wanting to do this for you?
No.
Okay.
He loves baseball.
I know that. But, is he wanting you to start, is he wanting you in this business to help you? Are you struggling with money?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
He's independent. We are independent. We've followed all of your things for years. And
okay. All right, cool. I just was making sure what the motivations were behind all of this and what's going on. So this is just simply him wanting to help some kids learn to pitch properly, and he doesn't want to deal with the administrative and business side of it. He just wants to do the pitching part, and you pick up the rest. That makes sense. Okay, cool. Well, I hope it works out. But
Yeah,
I'm with Christy. Let's baby step into it, move slow into it incrementally so that you guys can learn as you go and figure out what your next steps are.
Let's send her a copy of Business Boutique. That'd be great reading for her anyway as she's kind of having these conversations with him.
Absolutely. That's perfect. So Kelly will pick up Linda and send you a copy of Business Boutique. Elizabeth is with us in Canada. Hi, Elizabeth. How are you?
Hi, I am thankful to God for his blessings.
Amen.
All
Me
right.
too. What's up?
So my husband's 29. I'm 34. We're expecting our first baby in July. We don't have any debt except for our 30-year mortgage. We have about $280,000 left on that. We've only owned it for a little over a year. We have $30,000 in our emergency fund, and we have about $43,000 just sitting in our savings that we've saved up and kept there. And we're kind of a little bit divided on what to do with that. So my husband looks at the numbers and he wants to put it in investments for retirement. And I hate having the house debt. And I know that it's not a huge chunk in relation to what we owe on the house, but I know that it would help pay down the principal. And I hate owing on the house. I don't like the debt, and we don't have any other debt. So it's like, it's the one thing. But numbers wise, he's thinking it won't get us ahead as fast as investing will when you're looking 30 years down the road. So I guess with that $43,000 chunk, should we pay down the principal on our mortgage or invest now or split it somehow? Or I could just say screw it and get a brand new Toyota Tacoma. That would be like my dream.
Well, that's a possibility. Okay.
I mean, if you're on board.
There you go. If you have a purchase that you need to make, other than a screw-it purchase, but a legitimate purchase that you want to make, then that might be a play. But basically what we teach is what we call the baby steps, and it sounds like you're aware of them. Baby step 1 and 2 is to be debt-free, everything but the house. 3 is an emergency fund. You've done that. Beyond that, you have this $43,000, which we would apply to beginning your baby steps 4, 5, and 6 simultaneously. 4 is putting 15% of your household income into retirement. Are you doing that?
Well, okay, so yes and no. So not 15, but so the cool thing is actually at my husband's job, he makes about $90,000 a year, and I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom, so I was working, but I'm not. So let's just say we make about household $90,000. So at the end of each year, his company gives him 12% of his annual income above what he made, and we use that solely for investing. So it's not. He just started there. He's only been there for a little over a year, so we've only received one.
And that's that's a lump sum bonus?
Yeah, exactly. And so I think it's intended for investing, and that's what we use it for. It just goes right. And so we've only been investing for a very short time because.
Okay. So what I would do is change your system then. You do not have a $90,000 income. You have a $102,000 income.
Okay.
Counting bonuses.
Yeah.
Okay. Give or take 101. But somewhere right in there. And so I would be putting $15,000 a year of your money systematically, monthly, into retirement savings. Okay? And that's a budgeting change for you. That's not, that really doesn't address the $43,000, but I would start that immediately. I would not do what you're doing because you might not get the bonus one year, and you need to be in the habit of steadily investing 15% of your income, and so that's the direction I would go. Now then the next step is, do you have children?
One on the way in July.
Okay. Then we might use some of that $43,000 to set aside for kids' college, baby step 5, and anything that's left beyond that, I would put it on the house. And I am also doing math, and part of the math I'm doing is data that says that the typical millionaire that we studied in the largest study of millionaires ever done in North America shows that the typical millionaire has a paid off home and substantial money in retirement. And what I just laid out for you will get you there. Substantial money in retirement, 15%, $15,000 a year going into retirement. And then beyond that, you're putting the money toward every dollar above that towards getting the home paid off. And the typical person listening to this show, doing our steps, pays off their home in 7 to 8 years. The typical millionaire pays off their home in about 10 years. But people following this stuff tend to be a little bit more intentional, a little bit more intense, and move in that direction. So somewhere in that 7 to 10 range, house is paid for, but it won't be if you keep screwing around and putting the $43,000 in investments because, quote unquote, I did some math, which, by the way, was wrong. This is the Ramsey Show. Christy Wright, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Christopher is in Dayton, Ohio. Hi, Christopher. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. How you doing?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
So I'll try and make a long story short. I am divorced about 3 years ago, and in those 3 years, I've been to court. My ex-wife has taken me to court 5 times. So each time we go to court, it costs anywhere between $10,000 and $30,000. I was on baby step 2, just bumped down to baby step 1. So we're rebuilding our $1,000 savings or emergency fund. We are $96,000 in debt. I am remarried. We have a household income of $120,000, and we are a family of 7.
Why does she keep taking you to court?
I mean, I don't want to speak illy of her.
Is this about kids, or what's it about?
Well, in her argument, it's always about the kids, but she's narcissist and depression, so she lets that guide her ways. Even though I keep winning in court, she keeps taking me back, just finding a different loophole to do it. And so we're gearing up for our 5th round now that she's taking me back for the same reasons.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think you need an attorney that gets on the offensive, not just the defensive. Because she's abusing the court system, it sounds like.
She is, and my wife and I have talked about, we don't even know if it's legal to start doing like harassment type of legal action towards her.
You need an attorney. You need an attorney to investigate that. You really do, because this is, I'm just listening to what you're describing, and people who are continually doing that leave themselves open to a type of liability there. And so the abuse of the court system is a real thing. Attorneys can be sanctioned for that, and certainly individuals can. Just filing frivolous lawsuits is not allowed, and so that's I keep winning, and she keeps looking for some angle. So anyway, you've got $96,000 in debt. Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
How much of that is attorney's fees?
That is current attorney fees is about $25,000.
Okay. And what's the rest of it?
The rest of it is from going through the divorce. I took on all the debt that we had at the time, and then it was like a snowball effect in the wrong direction for us. We were dropping everything to be able to pay for attorneys, so then we accumulate debt because we have, we could pay a lawyer or we could pay for food. I could lose my kids or we could feed the kids kind of thing. So we ended up making, I wouldn't call them bad choices. They were just a noose around our neck, and we had to accumulate credit card debt.
So how much credit card debt is there?
Credit card debt is sitting at, I believe it's $22,000 right now.
Okay, so that's 50 between those two things that are associated with this. What's the other 50?
And then there was a personal loan to accumulate the debt from when the divorce first took place. That's currently sitting at $37,000, and then the rest of it is like kids' embraces and stuff like that.
Kids' embraces for $15,000?
No. If that doesn't equal up to exactly 15,000, I'm trying to remember my Dave Ramsey
That's all right.
website, what all of it was. But most of it is credit card and consolidation loan.
Okay.
And there's just a couple minor. Oh, and family debt because they help me pay for lawyers as well.
Okay. And you make 120 household income now with your new wife?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. All right. And then your question at the end of this is what?
So right now we're projected to pay off, if nothing else happens, another $17,000 in debt by the end of the year, and we should be debt free by mid-August of mid 2025. That's our goal.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess our question, the wife and I, we were sitting around talking, and that is, what could we possibly do to better protect ourselves so that when we do get slapped in the face with another court hearing, we're not scrambling for $20,000 to make it happen. Our goal, we're trying to be gazelles and knock out this debt as fast as possible. But every time we go to court, it really kicks us. It beats us down.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know. It may be that you treat this like it's a chronic situation and say, if you had an illness that cost you $20,000 a year that was chronic, you would have to put that into your budget. And then above that, work on getting out of debt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you've got a chronic legal problem for now. And you've got to continue. So I'd put a couple grand a month in the budget, set over in a separate savings account, only for legal fees, potentially. And it might be that if it happens again, we're going to use those legal fees to be, those attorney's fees to be offensive.
Okay, so you would say slow down paying off the debt to build up a account to build a.
Well, because you're going to, because you have a very high probability this is coming at you again.
Yes, sir.
And so you got to get ready for it. I mean, Christmas is coming in December. A lawsuit is coming from the ex-wife. These are predictable things.
It is. Every time something good happens in my life, it seems to happen. And
I'm not trying to be a black cloud. That's not my point. My point is just mathematically forecasting. Right. We're just going to predict. And if the bad thing doesn't happen, you've got the money. It didn't go anywhere. But you can't go buy a bass boat with it then. You got to use it for debt.
Absolutely.
So if for some reason she decides to calm down without being slapped into next week with an attorney, which may be what has to happen, sometimes you just have to stand up and fight, forward rather than backward. And I don't know. I don't know the particulars of your situation. I'm not an attorney, but there is a benefit to going after offensively some of these people that misbehave using the court systems.
Well, and this is not working. So you're 5 times in. This is not working. Yeah. So we can't, you know what I mean? Like I would try something else.
Yeah,
like after this 5th round or whatever it is.
I never suggest, very, very seldom do I suggest someone pick a fight.
Right.
But sometimes you have to finish one.
Yeah.
In order for it to be over.
Yeah.
It's not going to be over until you finish it.
Yeah.
You've got to punch and punch and punch and punch until it's over.
Yeah.
And stand there and just, and the problem with being in a fight is it doesn't just hurt the person that you're hitting, it hurts you.
Yeah.
When you're hitting. Mm-hmm. If you physically were in a fight, your hands will get damaged, boxers come out, they're damaged on both, there's no one gets out of these things unscathed. It's not like there's one guy does all the hitting and one guy doesn't.
Right.
Everybody gets hit. But the thing is, if you're going to go through all that, at least stick in it long enough to win.
Yeah. Where you don't have to fear this every single year.
And just absolutely defeat the evil foe.
Yeah.
That's what you have to take on that persona of doing that, and it's very difficult.
Yeah.
So it's emotional, because you can hear the emotional drain on him.
Oh my gosh.
It's just never
and he's
going
trying to move on with his life.
I thought you were going to be the ex-wife.
Yeah.
But you're never going away. Just go away. I've had people in my life like that. Just go away. Just go live your life over there somewhere. Just go away. But they can't seem to do it. So they don't.
No, it's not just a financial drain. It's just that emotional drain too.
Oh, it does.
The headache, the strain on your marriage, your kids, all that.
It's and you go from, being angry to sad to back and forth. And I'm so sorry for you.
Sorry you've been through that.
Yeah, and it's the problem is it's stealing both the emotion, the spirit, and the money from your future with your current wife.
Right.
That's the problem. You're taking your eyes off of good things that could be done. Instead, you have to deal with this crap and this fight.
Yeah.
And, hey, been there myself, know how it is, not in a divorce situation, but in other situations. And you've just got to, you just have to, the bad actors, they have to be punished. And, you don't have any way around it. I don't set out to be Sheriff Andy, but we'll finish it, you know, if you're going to pick a fight. And that's where I'm coming from, because I've been in those situations, and sadly in legal battles, where you have to become the aggressor rather than, even though you didn't start the fight,
right,
in order to stop it. That's how it works. All right, open phones at 888-825-5225. Christy Wright, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host. James Childs is our producer. Kelly Daniels is our associate producer and phone screener. I am Dave Ramsey, and we'll be back. Have a friend or family member that needs a daily dose of Ramsey advice in their life? Let them know about the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast. It's a quick hit of advice about life and money in under 10 minutes. Check out the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. Christy Wright, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host this hour. This day, open phones at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. You can hear her on the Christy Wright Show, where faith meets personal development, so you can have a bigger faith and a better life. You get the encouragement you want with the tough love truth you need to connect with God, take control of your life, and enjoy your life. New episodes every Tuesday on YouTube and anywhere you listen to podcasts, The Christy Wright Show. Open phones, 888-825-5225. Jeff's in Daytona Beach. Hi, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you doing? Real happy to be on the phone with you.
You too, sir. How can we help?
So I have a question. My wife and I are looking to install a pool in our backyard, and I know your thoughts on pools and getting refinancing to use the money for that, but just a little bit about my wife and I have lived very financially responsible. We have no debt. Cars are paid off. We have college funds for the kids. We maxed out both Roth IRAs. We're also both pension employees with the city here, so we have a pension to look forward to, and we have deferred comp. We currently owe $134 on our home. Our interest rate is 4.125.
What do you need? What do you need? You're doing great, man.
I'm sorry?
You're doing wonderful.
I know, yes.
All right, how can I help?
So we are wanting to install a pool in our backyard. We have two young kids. We are in what we consider our forever home, and we are wanting to refinance the house and pull $60,000 out of the house to install the pool.
You want to put a $60,000 house in $60,000 pool in a $130,000 house?
So no, we only owe $134.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's the house worth? What's the house worth?
$330.
It's an expensive
the new
pool.
rate we could. Yep, the new rate we could get would be 2.375.
I said that's an expensive pool.
Yeah, $60,000 is an expensive pool. That's my wife's doing, and that's it is. Yeah,
it's her doing. You're the one calling, Jeff.
I know. It would be a very nice pool, and I know it's expensive, but like I said, we are not planning on going anywhere at least until the kids are through high school. So that's about another 13 years, for the youngest ones.
Oh, okay. Well, what you're very clearly describing over and over and over again and you've said it 6 different ways, is that you know this is an irresponsible, bad idea.
Yeah,
but you're trying to make me think it's okay, so that you're going to think it's okay,
so that Dave will say
you're
it's
on
okay.
To me. You're on to me.
I mean, it's just it's okay. Let's walk through it. So, number 1, I'm not against fun. Number 2, you have done a great job with your finances. Congratulations. Number 3, you have a clue where you are. You know exactly what's going on. You're not a wandering generality. You're not out of control. You're very systematized. You've been very beautifully done. You've told me your numbers. You're not guessing. You know exactly where you are. So you have a lot of positive things going on, and then you have this. Your stomach is in your throat because you're getting ready to pay too much for a pool for a $330,000 house. It doesn't make sense
Correct.
to put that nice a pool on a house that expense, meaning you would never recoup it, ever. You're overbuilding the neighborhood. You have to be, by definition. Even if there's pools all up and down your street, they're not $60,000 pools and $300,000 houses. People don't do that.
That is true.
Okay.
Now,
so number 1, you know you're spending too much. Number 2, you're borrowing money to buy a fun toy.
Yes.
And you know that that's not unwise. And you called the guy that would tell you both of those things, right? I mean, what do you want? How can I help you?
Could I run something by you?
You think it's going to change my mind?
I don't know.
I try that technique, Jeff, with my husband all the time. Well, let me just give you one more.
All right, let's try. Let's try it. Let's try.
Go for it.
You're a good sport, Jeff. Let's try it for fun here.
So my wife and I, we purchased the home. We've been in the home about 6 years. We purchased it for $160,000. So
Yes, sir.
It has appraised quite a bit.
I understand.
So if we were to refinance at a lower rate of 2.37, we would have that the mathematical equation you give out. We would, with the closing costs, which is about $9,000, we would cover that in about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be in the home for at least 10 to 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And with the refinance, we're only refinancing at $210,000,
Mm-hmm.
which is still substantially less than what all the homes in the area.
I don't think it's going to make you
for.
bankrupt. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to go out of business because of this. I don't think you're going to completely, get a divorce because of financial stress. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, you're borrowing money to buy a toy.
True.
Even though you figured out some bass-backward sophisticated way to make it sound okay. But you're still borrowing money to buy a toy, and you're overbuilding your neighborhood. Both.
Okay.
So if you want to do one of those, overbuild the neighborhood. Okay.
Yes, sir. So
but don't borrow the money to do it.
Gotcha.
So if I woke up in your shoes, I would do one of 2 things. Do you have any money to put towards this project?
We have $20,000 that we would put towards. But the way pools are built, it's such a hot commodity here in the state of Florida right now that
you're putting an $80,000 pool in?
Oh, Jeff, you're in more trouble now.
No, sir. No.
Oh, it's a $60,000 pool. Oh, okay. So you're borrowing. You're going to borrow $40,000.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
I misunderstood. I misunderstood. Okay, so you got $20,000. So and what's your household income?
About $110,000.
Phenomenal. Okay. I would project that based on the fact that you two actually have done so good until we got to this conversation with your finances, that the two of you could add another $20,000 to this $20,000 very quickly and pay cash for a $40,000 pool. If Dave and Sharon Ramsey were in your shoes, that's exactly what we would do.
Yes, sir. I'm going to tell my wife we're going to have to eliminate Sushi Sunday and that big. No more.
It's up to you. It's not eliminate. It's trade.
Yes,
we're trading it for a pool. You eat a lot of sushi, apparently, but
I was waiting for that.
But you're you're going to eliminate some lifestyle to get the pool. That's what Dave and Sharon Ramsey would do. We've got some nice toys in our life, and I remember the first time we bought a toy, we bought a little bitty dinky butt house on the lake for $100,000, and we thought it was oh God, we just bought a second house. We're like rich people or something. We have 2 houses. It was $103,000. And, but we pay cash for it, and we've never regretted it. We've never regretted owning a lake house because we pay cash for our toys, and they don't come back to bite you in the butt later. This is The Ramsey Show.
Life is full of firsts. As the first and longest-serving Christian health cost-sharing ministry, CHM has shared medical expenses for its members since 1981. We believe you should have the freedom to focus on your health while being supported by a community of believers, giving you the opportunity to create many more firsts.
I'm proud of my state of Tennessee, and one of the greatest things about our state has been that we have had a great run of incredible governors, at least the last 2 anyway. And Governor Bill Haslam was governor here for 2 terms. Currently, Governor Bill Lee is our governor in Tennessee, and Bill and I became friends during that time. Chrissy, his wife, as well, and he was an incredible governor, and incredible. Not politician, but statesman is a better word, and has written a brand new book. I went to Donald Miller's house the other night with a bunch of folks in our area here that were friends of both of ours, Bill's and mine, and got to hear a little bit of the reading from it and the background on it. It's called Faithful Presence, The Promise and the Peril of Faith in the Public Square. Bill and I are both Christians, and it is messy. Once you say you're a Christian, someone disagrees with you, immediately you're a fake Christian. Immediately someone's got something to say about that. But, how you can act out your faith in the public square. Bill comes from the Pilot Oil family. His daddy started Pilot Oil, and his brother owns the Cleveland Browns. And if I got that right?
You got it right.
Okay.
Yep.
And make sure I say the right thing. Jimmy will get me. Big Jim will get me. Jimmy will get me for sure.
You'd get a quick call.
But yeah, I'll get Big Jim will get on me. I don't want Big Jim after me. But big University of Tennessee fans as well, and alumni like we are, and generosity in that direction. So a little bit of background there. So Bill, you and I, when you were running for governor the first time, with your background coming from a family of means, we're sitting, you and Chrissy and I and Sharon, we're sitting on our back deck.
Remember.
And kind of getting to know each other a little bit. And I asked you a question. I said, why would you take this job? Because it doesn't pay that much in comparison to other things you could have done and have done in your life. And you come from a family of means. It's not something you needed financially, and you didn't need the power. You didn't need any of that. Why would you want that job? Is kind of what I said. You remember that?
I do. I remember the conversation well.
And it was an honest question because I just couldn't envision it.
Yeah, well, first of all, you talked about the success of Tennessee, and Ramsey Solutions is part of that story. I got to stand here where we are now when it was a field, and to see what you've done with the place, as we say around Tennessee, is impressive. So, first of all, let me just tip of the hat.
It was with your help as well.
No, cool story.
The state was a big help to us.
So, why did I run? We all find different ways to serve, right? You've been able to change thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people's lives by giving them some insight into a better financial way to carry out their lives. Government serves a lot of different people, and it makes a difference. Who governs matters. And for me, it just felt like a huge opportunity to serve. And I know it sounds kind of corny, but it felt like for me the way to change more lives for the better than anything else I could do.
Well, and I also remember you saying you felt like God told you to.
I did.
It felt like it was a call, a spiritual call.
As Chrissy would always remind me during the campaign, campaigns aren't much fun, and she'd say, "Okay, you are called to run. The election will decide if you're called to serve." So there was always a whole lot of, we'll see. I said, thanks for all the faith
from the
there.
wife there. Yeah.
But she was right, and so we really did feel that way. And so if you do feel that way, then you do it differently. You don't do it with your own ends in mind.
Bill Haslam, former governor of the state of Tennessee. The book is Faithful Presence, The Promise and the Peril of Faith in the Public Square. So this is your first book. Why write a book about this subject, and why now?
It is my first book, and might be my only. Some people like you have enough to cover a lot of books. This might, I only have enough for one, probably.
Yeah, right.
But here's why. It's no secret the country's at each other's throats, and everybody talks about the polarization, and we're not just that, but we're mad. And we're not just mad, but we think the other side has bad motives. The question is, what are we going to do about it? Well, Jesus was pretty clear in Scripture when something was wrong. He always started with us, the religious types, and he said, "Hey, if the meat's gone bad, it's not the meat's fault; it's the salt's fault. The salt's not doing its job." And so, this is a call to all of us who say that we want to follow Jesus, and then others who don't, but want to know the role of faith in the public square. To say, what role could we have in being light in the darkness and being salt to meat and changing the tone of the conversation?
Politics, anytime you get up in the spotlight, like I have been for many years,
right,
you get the haters, and
right,
you get the people who believe you can do anything, which both are wrong.
Right.
And but you ought to run for office, and I immediately just about, oh no, I have a physical reaction. It sounds so exhausting.
Well, the budget would be balanced. We know that much.
That's true, and there'd be a lot of angry people. But it's messy, it's exhausting, it's sometimes ineffective. Why should we even care about politics?
Well, it says in Scripture that God causes the sun to fall on the just and the unjust, the rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. So he cares about the common good. And this is a way that government impacts what we do and how life works. And again, think about your principles. So Tennessee's actually lived that way. We've lived as a fiscally responsible state. Because of that, we can keep taxes low. We can attract businesses to come here. It matters the decisions you make, and that affects, again, millions of people because of that. So one of the reasons I wrote the book is I don't want people to say, "Oh, a pox on both your houses. I'm tired of all the argument. I'm not going to pay any attention," because that's the wrong response to the current situation.
Yeah, the only way to fix it is engage.
I
stand back and throw grenades doesn't do it.
It's never worked, and by the way, it's never changed anybody's mind either.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, Bill Lee's been in office 2 years.
A little bit more, about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So
you've been the last 10 plus years.
Right.
We've been having these conversations. Right. It feels like to me that it's gotten a lot nastier during that 10 years nationally.
Yeah, I don't think it just feels like it has, and all the data would show you that we've gone from disagreeing to think the other side has bad motives and even being contemptuous of the other side.
Yeah. How do we get in this mess?
I think there's several things. Number one, we've always been it's always been partisan. The founders literally got in duels with each other. Mm-hmm. So we shouldn't kid ourselves and say, "Oh, this is new." But I think, secondly, the world's different, and so with social media, you can hide behind the anonymity of the internet, as you know, and people can say whatever they want about you.
Keyboard courage.
The keyboard. I love that. I'm stealing that. People can have keyboard courage. People can in politics can say, "Well, I can just go be a social media star. I don't really have to solve problems." So it's like I'm going to play a senator on TV. I'm not going to really be one in terms of solving problems. And I think the fact that folks can choose their own news and how they get it, we just tend to dig deeper into our own beliefs and not take any time at all to listen to, is there a better way to do this?
Yeah. The ability to sit down and calmly listen to the other side is a lost art.
It really is. And somehow we think that if we yell at the other side, we're going to change their mind. And that's changed nobody's mind ever.
It doesn't. I'm going to get mad and call you names and on Twitter, and that's going to make you feel better.
Oh, girl, yeah. And I'm going to vote your way now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Faithful Presence is the book, The Promise and the Peril of Faith in the Public Square. Former governor of the state of Tennessee, 2 terms, Bill Haslam. What strengths and gifts if people of faith come to the public square, should they be bringing?
Well, you think about one of those that we should bring is people always decide, am I going to be a person of truth or a person of love? And we're supposed to be both. We're supposed to understand that it's, speak the truth with love. We're supposed to, people think, well, you either have to choose mercy or choose justice. And we understand it's both. I mean, we actually have a God that lived out mercy and justice at the same time. And so we have a picture of that. The other advantage we have is we know we're broken, imperfect people. That's part of the definition of being a follower of Jesus. Well, if we are that, then by definition, we know we have the capacity to be wrong too. That's not a bad place to start the discussion.
Yeah, and that makes you a listener.
I hope so.
Love your spirit, love your humility. Appreciate your friendship.
You too. You and Sharon have become great friends. Thanks.
Governor Bill Haslam, former governor of the state of Tennessee. Check this book out, guys. It's life-changing, and it's really needed in the marketplace right now. Faithful Presence, the promise and the peril of faith in the public square. This is The Ramsey Show. Christy Wright, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225 in Las Vegas. Andrew and Shanae are with us. It says on my screen you guys are debt-free. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How much did you pay off?
$78,564.
Good for you.
Awesome.
And how long did this take you?
364 days.
Okay, there we go. The 1 year minus a day mark. Okay. And your range of income during that time?
Our range of income started about $97,410, and then we finished at $148,840.
Wow. What do you guys do for a living?
I'm a police officer.
And I'm the office manager of a dental office.
How'd you get your income up so far in 1 year?
I worked over 901 hours of overtime.
Wow.
Wow.
Great place to go when you're broke to work, huh? Way to go, Andrew. Man, I bet you're happy this is over.
Yeah, the wife's pretty happy, too. She has help with the kids now.
Yeah, absolutely. She was a single mom for a year. So,
A lot.
yeah, that's what my wife said, yeah. So, what kind of debt was your $79,000?
It ranged from, we had a personal loan for $42,000. We had credit cards, we had cars, and we had a $3,400 vacuum cleaner.
Of course. Yeah.
What?
Well, it does everything.
Yeah.
Or not. But yeah.
Right.
So what was the $42,000 personal loan? What was that?
So we have two children, and I was a stay-at-home mom for about almost 3 years. And during that time, we thought it was going to be a good idea to consolidate a car payment and credit cards into a consolidation loan.
Gotcha.
And we were kind of, at that time, we didn't know a whole lot about paying off debt and stuff,
Yeah.
and we thought at that time that was going to be our best option.
Yeah.
And then when my daughter was born, she had a lot of medical problems, and so we got behind on a payment, and it kind of just downhill from there.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. Yeah, that thing of trying to borrow your way out of debt, lots of folks have tried that one. You're not the only one. Way to go. I'm so proud of you guys. What started this this debt snowball, this lit your fuse? Because you guys went nuts. I mean, you were going after it, 901 hours of overtime. What started all this a year ago?
So I had gone to a training with a coworker, and during the training, finances had got brought up, and he was saying that he was getting ready to pay cash for $1 million home. And I looked at him and I said, how is that possible? possible? Like, me and you have the same job. We're the same age. Like, how are you doing this? And he grew up in a Ramsey household. And so he started telling me about it, and I spent a couple more days away from the family at the training just looking this stuff up. Came home, told the wife about it, and we were just right then and there we started.
Yeah, and we had kind of talked about actually the options of going bankrupt after that consolidation loan like went to collections and stuff, because we were having all those medical problems with my daughter. And so when he came home and was talking about that, it was like, well, we either do this or we file bankrupt, because we're not really sure what to do. And we were so young that bankruptcy didn't obviously sound too enticing. So this was the only other option we had, and it sounded like the best thing. And we kind of just went full force.
Yeah.
You sure did.
So how did you plug into us?
When we were at the training, he told me your name. So, and then my mom had told me about you when I was in high school and stuff like that. But you don't listen to your mom when you're a teenager.
Yeah.
And so once I saw someone my own age living that way, is when I started listening to the podcast.
Oh, the podcast. Okay.
Every single day. I have all of the books, the audio books that I've listened to at least once a month.
Yeah.
It's just, we went crazy on it.
Okay. All right. Cool. And so the budgeting and the whole process. So what do you tell people the key to getting out of debt is?
Sticking to a budget.
Yeah.
I would say.
And consistency. I mean, like, it's hard, and especially when you have people, that you're friends with or family that are kind of like, oh, well, and they live in like the debt lifestyle, and they're okay with credit cards, and they're okay. Well, I want the points, and I want this, and so you have those people that kind of tell you what you're doing is silly and stuff, and so my opinion is making sure that you're not listening to that, because there is a lot of people that will try and tell you, their other ways are better. And so just consistency and really knowing what your goals are and keeping your goals in focus, because otherwise people really do try to talk you out of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of naysayers, and it's just because they don't have hope a lot of times.
Right.
And but who were your best cheerleaders?
Oh man, that's tough. I
think each other, honestly.
Yeah, we had some friends outside, but me and her, one of us would start to feel a little discouraged or something like that, and the other one would be like, hey, knock that off. Like, we got this. Let's do this. And so we just worked together as a team. It would probably be the best thing. But we had some friends that stuck by.
Yeah.
What kept you motivated? I know a year's pretty fast for you guys to do this, but there had to be some of those times where you were getting discouraged. What'd you guys tell each other? What'd you keep in mind to be able to stick with it?
I would say it was the saying that Dave has is live like no one else, so later you can live and give like no one else. So we figured if we took a year away from being able to do all the fun things and just really put our heads to it, we would have a lifetime of being able to do the fun things. That's awesome.
And we have a 4 and a 6-year-old, and so I think that was a lot of it too, because I really want to be able to, send them to school and not have, if that's what they choose to do, and not have to have a lot of financial things. I know I grew up, with a lot of hard, financial situations, and I don't want that for my children. We've taught our kids this kind of thing, and even my 6-year-old, he goes out and he gets a job cleaning up dog poop for friends, and they pay him, and we teach him how to spend, save, and give. So trying to show them a good way of living was a lot of motivation as well. Just trying to make sure that they can see, that you have to work hard in order to live freely later.
That's awesome.
So your friend Andrew, who paid cash at your age for $1 million house, that's your son, right?
I really hope so.
Yeah. He's growing up in a Ramsey house.
That's right.
He's growing up in a house where mom and dad are living on less than they make. Mom and dad don't borrow money. Mom and dad know how to work their butts off, and you're teaching him how to work. I mean, it would do a lot of America good if at some point their kid had picked up poop for money. It could change this country. It really could.
Yeah.
He makes $80 a month going house to house.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Whoa!
That's awesome.
Wow! This kid's an entrepreneur. No pun intended, but yeah. Wow, you guys, this is incredible. I'm so proud of you guys. Very, very well done. Absolutely incredible. So here's the deal. We got a copy of The Legacy Journey for you. That's the book about what happens now, the live like no one else part, now that you've done it, and the legacy that we're just talking about with your kids. And we've also got a copy of the Total Money Makeover for you to take and give to someone, because now, Andrew, you're going to be that friend that runs into somebody and starts their journey, and that's how this works, so paying it forward. So, again, we're just so proud of you guys. Very, very well done. All right, it's Andrew and Shanae. $79,000 paid off in 364 days with 901 hours of overtime, making 97 to 148. They are free. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. We're debt-free!
Yeah! Amazing. You know, it's not hard to work that hard when you can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
That's right.
When you can see that you're getting there.
Yes. I love that visual of how you said that's going to be your son. Like, oh, you forecast into the future, the ripple effect of this decision with that next generation and beyond that. That's incredible.
Change your family tree, baby. You can do it. And I'm talking to you. Yeah, you. You thought you were just in the car listening to the radio. No, I'm talking to you. You need to change your family tree. It's in your power to do it. Now do it. Christy Wright, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Have you ever made a dumb decision with zeros on the end because you didn't do your research? Yeah, me too. Sometimes we all make choices, dumb choices, based on feelings or opinions. And if you do something like that when you're buying a house, yeah. And this real estate market, feelings are not your friend. Facts are your friend, because everybody's gone bonkers out there. Check your facts. Find out what you can actually afford. Research what's really trending in home prices. Talk to reputable real estate agents in your area. This is not amateur hour where houses are getting multiple offers. Do not let a monkey sell your house. And a monkey can get a real estate license. And they sell 2 houses, and then you've listed your highest, most expensive property asset with someone who doesn't know what the flip they're doing. Get the facts, know what you're getting into, and get a pro in your corner. Go to RamseySolutions.com/agent. You can plug in with one of our ELPs, our endorsed local providers that we have vetted. They're high octane, high protein, the top real estate agents in the nation. RamseySolutions.com/agent. That's how this works. Open phones at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Tina is in Austin, Texas. Hi, Tina. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi. Thank you for having me and listening.
Sure.
I listen to your podcast a lot.
Well, thank you.
And it's kind of like Jeff, your earlier caller. I feel like I'm pretty frugal. I'm really good with my money. But I wanted to make sure I'm on the right track. And I feel very stressed when I'm spending my money when I'm using my money for myself. When it's a gift or a donation, no problem. I'm going to write a check. But then when it comes to me, I get really nervous. Grocery store, I don't want to binge on a $5 chocolate or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to make sure I'm on the right path of savings. So I'm on baby step number 6, paying off my mortgage.
Good.
I feel like I've done a really good job with everything else. I skipped number 5. I don't have any kids.
Okay.
And thanks to the podcast, I got really good self intense during the pandemic, and I paid off my car. This is pre-Dave Ramsey, right? I've heard about you for 10 years, but I never really read the book.
How can I help today?
So I bought it. How, sorry?
How can I help today?
So I wanted to make sure that I was on the right path for when I pay off the mortgage. I have two different homes. One's a rental under an LLC, and then one's my home. And, you always talk about paying that off as soon as possible. So I wanted to see which one should I pay off first. Do I go get sell intents and paying those off, or do I just kind of loosen up a little bit? And,
generally speaking, what we do is if they're similar in payoff balance, I'd pay off your home first. But if you have a tiny little rental mortgage and you want to just reach over and knock it out and then come back to the home, that's okay too. We're going to get both of them eventually, agreed?
Yes.
Okay, so how much is owed on each?
I owe $61,205 on the rental with 5 years left, and then $170,313 with 11 years left on my
And
home.
your income is what?
Taxable income is $5,400.
Is how much again?
$73,000. Taxable income,
$73,000. Okay. All right.
The W-2 is $97,000.
Yeah. Okay. So, the rental is substantially smaller in balance.
Yes.
And if you wanted to push it up front, you can. That would be a reason to push it up front. I always want to cheat towards the residents because of risk management. And all that means is, in an absolute horrible worst-case scenario, if you were going to lose one to foreclosure, you'd want to lose the rental, not your home. And so getting rid of the place where you lay your head down at night, having no mortgage, releases you in the spirit, releases your spiritual, self a lot. And then because, the rental property, whatever, we can lose it or we can sell it, or it's no big deal. But where you live gives you an extra dose of peace when it is paid off. And so I tend to cheat towards that. So that's a reason to put it first. But the rental is very small, so you can knock it out pretty fast if you get after it, right?
Right.
So either one is okay in this case, but that's the way I look at it. That's the two things I look at and so if you owed $150 on the rental and $170 on your house, I'd say go do your house because of what I was describing earlier. But because your rental is so small, if you want to go over there first, you can do either one. Again, we're only $230,000 from being completely free, and that's pretty cool. She's done a great job.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's always good when the question is either option is a good one.
Yeah.
When that's the answer.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You're in a good spot because you've done really well.
Yeah, you've done real smart. And when both answers are smart answers,
right?
Yeah, that's a lot better rather than both answers are dumb answers. Yeah, I've been there too. I've done both. Joey's in Hattiesburg. Hi, Joey. How are you?
Hi, Dave. How are you doing today?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Well, I am 20 years old. I own two businesses. One is a startup. The other's been running for about 3 years. For the one that's been running, I owe $176,000 on the business. 104 of that is an owner finance loan. 63 of it is through a bank, and then $9K is minor debt. Well, I know the general rule is never to take out of an IRA. However, I'm hoping that you'll give me permission for an exception. I've got a CD for $64,000 and an inherited IRA for $79,000. My bad.
Okay, the inherited IRA is $79,000, and the CD's how much?
$64,000.
Okay. All right.
And the owner finance loan, the one for $104K, said if I paid in full, they would take 10% off. Meaning I would save $10,400 on principal and another $17,000 in interest. And my idea is to use that CD, put that towards it, and take the other $30,000 out of the IRA.
Yeah, an inherited IRA, I would do that. When did you get the inherited IRA?
3 years ago, from my father.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry for your loss there.
Not hurting anything.
Yeah, and where did the CD come from? Same thing?
Same thing.
Okay.
It was life insurance.
Okay. And what kind of business are you running at 20 years old that you want $170,000 in debt for?
It's a vending machine business. It started out as $260,000, and I've been able to get it down to there.
You making money?
Yes. To be fair, during Corona, it was barely paying for itself, but nevertheless paying for itself.
How much do you make a month gross right now?
gross. I mean, it varies from month to month, but on average, $8K. 8 to 9K.
Yeah. Okay.
But
so you're making like $30,000 a year profit.
As of right now, yes. But that's because a lot of my business is taken away. I'm regaining it back now that COVID is coming to an end.
In Mississippi?
Sorry to COVID. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I would have thought it would be back. Mississippi's open.
It is, but like the schools, which is more than half my business.
Okay. All right. That does explain it. Okay. And now you're out for the summer.
Exactly. That's the reason my average is so low.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's helpful. Because I'm just afraid for you. These numbers scare the crap out of me. And here's the thing. Yes, I would, to answer your question, yes, I would do this. I would take the CD and enough out of the inherited and pay the loan off. I would also try to negotiate down more than a 10% discount because they probably need the cash. Offer them 20 off and just see what they say. All they can do is say, no, all we'll do is 10, right? So just say, I'm having to cash out my dad's when he passed away, inherited IRA, and it's making me feel funny. I'll do this if you'll do 20%. Throw a little emotion in there, see what you can get them to do. And here's the thing I want you to walk away with. Don't do this again. You won't have another one of these shots to clean up this mess. Next time you get ready to grow a business or buy a business, you pay cash for it. Don't do this again. I'm scared for where you were. You're getting a one-way ticket out. Don't you go back. That wasn't unclear, was it?
No, you covered it. Covered it well.
This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey guys, this is James, senior producer for The Ramsey Show. Did you know over 18 million people listen to The Ramsey Show every week? And a lot of those people listen on one of our 600-plus radio stations across the country. To find a station near you, head to theramseyshow.com.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Christy Wright, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today as we answer your questions about your life and your money. Open phones at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Kai is with us in Orlando. Is it Kay or Kai?
Kai.
Kai. Cool. How can we help?
So I'll be on baby step 2, and I'm working an extra job where I'm an independent contractor, and I think I can pay off my debt in way before next tax season, certainly by the end of this year. Should I set aside taxes still, or should I wait till later to get rid of those taxes ready?
Yeah, you're going to want to go ahead and set those aside. Go ahead and plan for them. Do you know? Do you have projections of what you're planning to do this fall?
Yes. So it's just an extra couple $100 a week, but it's my second, it's soon to be third job, and my total debt is $7,600.
What do you make, not counting this job?
That'd be about $32,000 a year. I'm getting ready to start the job next week.
Okay.
Oh,
cool. Well,
my first job out of college.
Here's the tech. You're just out of college.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Here's what the proper way to do this is to file quarterly estimates on the profits of your business. When you're an independent subcontractor, you're technically running a business. You have a sole proprietorship. Okay. My guess is you don't have any expenses associated with the business that are deductible, do you?
I guess not, other than maybe gas and mileage.
Okay. What are you driving, like Uber Eats or something?
Yeah, it's a grocery delivery.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you will have some deductions then.
You'll want to keep track of all that.
Yeah, you want to keep track. You can either write off the mileage by the IRS guideline, or you can write off the expenses associated with the car. One of the two. Usually, in your case, the mileage is going to be a better way. Okay? So you have a deduction. So let's say that your miles amount to $50 a week that you can write off, and you make $200 a week. Your profit would be $150 then. You following me?
Yes, sir.
So what I would tell you to do is this. Number one, you can probably just jump online and look and see what the IRS is allowing per mile and just keep up with your mileage. Keep a log book of your miles, okay? And you can do it electronically. You can do it in an old-fashioned log book if you want to, either one. But you need to keep up with it in case they question you someday. You need to have the records. That questioning you is called an audit, okay? So I don't think that'll happen, but you don't want to get burned on this. So now, so you take the allowable rate per mile times the mile you drive and deduct that as an expense. And then once a quarter, you're supposed to file a quarterly estimate. It's a one-page thing. It's very easy to do with the IRS. And it amounts to all of the money you made at the grocery delivery, in this case, minus the deduction you're taking for all the miles during that quarter, that 3-month period of time. Okay? The difference is called profit. What you brought in minus the miles is your profit. You following me?
Yes.
Times your tax rate. And you're going to send them a check for that amount once a quarter on your taxes. And so I don't want you to wait until next year to pay your taxes, because you're going to get penalized possibly for not paying them on time, because you're supposed to do it once a quarter technically.
And then when someone does that, when someone pays quarterly, when they actually comes around to tax time, aren't they just kind of reconciling the difference at that point? It's just so much simpler on you as well.
You won't owe, if you do it properly, you won't owe any taxes on this portion of your income next spring when you file your taxes.
Okay.
And I don't want that to sneak up on you and hit you in the back of the head later because we said, oh, don't worry about taxes, do that later. No, that'll get you burnt right there, man. So just go ahead and stay ahead of the game. The last snake you want to play with is the IRS snake. It bites.
And Dave, for clarification for anybody listening right now that is in a similar situation, don't you recommend 25% if you're not sure what your tax rate is?
Yep.
25%.
Yeah. Set aside out of your income.
Yeah.
So as you're making it through that 3-month period of time, you can kind of be doing this calculation
Saving
and go,
it up.
I'm going to take the mileage off, and 25% of the difference I'm going to set aside in a savings account to be ready to pay those quarterly estimates.
Yep.
And that way you'll have the money when the quarterly estimate comes up, because you and I have, with Business Boutique and with Entree Leadership, we have talked to thousands of people who got themselves in serious tax trouble.
They do not pay quarterly taxes. They don't even know they need to pay them, and they don't realize the benefit to themselves if they do, of just setting aside that as you get the income, as you get the revenue, that you set aside that 25%
of your profit.
of your
profit needs to be set aside on a separate savings account, and it's just for taxes.
Don't touch it.
And it's tax money. You're withholding on yourself is all you're doing. You're just doing what they supposedly do for you with withholding. They seldom do it right. But there you go. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Cole is with us in Utah. Hi, Cole. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave and Christy. Thanks for taking my call. I'm very excited.
Sure. What's going on?
Yeah, so I'm in an interesting situation. I have a stable job as a full-time fireman in Vegas. I live in Utah, and I started a side gig to help me to stay home more to supplement some income, and now that income has grown. And the problem I'm having is I work 100 hours a week and I have 3 babies at home, and I want to be home more. So I'm trying to figure out if I should step away from my stable job and lose that sense of security and stick with a commission-based job, or what that's going to look like.
How far away from Vegas do you live?
It takes me about 2.5 hours to get to my fire station from my house.
I don't understand that.
You do this once a day, 4 days a week?
No, so I work 2 days on and 4 days off.
Yeah.
So I do a 48-hour schedule. So I drive down once or twice a week, and then I come back.
And then on your off days, you have a side gig that's kicking butt.
Yeah, I'm a real estate agent, so I started doing that, and it took my income from just fire about 70, and now I'm doing over 300.
Okay.
Now?
Quit
Now.
driving.
Yesterday, a long time ago.
I know.
Your
Me and my
income is
wife
there.
are
What's the
very-
Why
question?
do you have to think about
What
this?
is the question?
I know the market is hot now and it's doing well as an agent, but if it's going to slow down and my income could drop back down low and the security
Back down
of the
to
fire
70?
income, well, if I step away from the fire job on the fire department, I lose that stability and that stable income.
Yeah, you lose 5-hour commutes, and we see your 3 small children. Dude, you should have quit like 30 years ago. Wow. Like by the end of the week, you're not a fireman anymore. You have no life. Go get you a life. Wow. You are not afraid of hard work, though. This is The Ramsey Show. Stop paying your overpriced wireless provider and switch to Pure Talk. They use the same network as the larger providers for much less. For just $30 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data with no contract. The average family saves over $70 a month by switching to Pure Talk. Just go to puretalk.com and enter the promo code Ramsey to save 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, simply smarter wireless. Christy Wright, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Summer's almost here, but that does not mean you can take a vacation from your money goals. Motivation to stay intense can go away, I understand, but especially when you want that beach trip or this kind of stuff, the old vacation waves in front of you, and you go, oh, stop your whining. Listen, if you live like no one else, later you can live and give like no one else. If you will vacate like no one else, meaning not at all, later you can vacate like no one else, meaning anywhere you want to go, baby. And there's some cool places in this world you ought to be able to you ought to be rich enough to go see. But you're not going to get there if you keep spending money like you're in Congress. So it's time to straighten up. A Ramsey Plus membership gives you our best digital money course. Financial Peace University, all of our digital money courses are there. Smart Money, Smart Kids, Know Yourself, Know Your Money, they're all in there. Legacy Journey. All the tools like the Every Dollar Premium, the world's best budgeting app, all of this helps you keep moving forward. It's about getting small wins that lead to big results. Your goals are worth working for all year long. Stay motivated with a free trial of Ramsey Plus. Text TRIAL to 33789. That's TRIAL to 33789. Thanks for joining us, America. We are glad you are here. Christy, it's worth going back to our firemen for a minute.
Yeah, okay.
$70,000 a year, 2.5 hours each way commute. But he made $300,000 in real estate. So he had a $370,000 income, 3 little kids at home. He's working 100 hours a week. In our minds, it was, and in most of you listening, you were going, why didn't this guy quit already? Why in the world is he still doing this fire thing? And what that says is this guy is tremendously driven by a need for security, and he falsely believes that the fireman's job is more secure than the real estate job.
Yeah.
And that's a falsehood.
Which is interesting, too, because I've noticed a pattern where we've had some similar calls, not the same question, where it's, well, when is it okay to do this? And it's like, it was okay 10 years ago. But it's that we hold on. There's this fear that keeps us trapped in some idea that we're not there. We don't have enough. What if I lose my job? I've heard you ask people, well, how stable is your job? And they're like, oh, I don't know, something could happen, but it's a very stable job. They've been there for 20 years and the industry's secure. And so it's just interesting how fear, I feel like, is this shadow that haunts us. And because we never really pin it down and define us, it can always torment us like, what if? But the scenarios are not even remotely probable. Yeah. They're not realistic.
Well, and when it comes to your income, it can be the tapes that were played in your house when you were growing up. In the sense of always get a good job. And the definition of a good job is that it's always going to pay.
Yeah.
It's a steady work. It's steady. It's income you can count on. And versus being self-employed or straight commission, which is an unstable job.
Right.
But it's not necessarily an unstable income.
What's interesting, though, is I'm curious, have you seen a correlation between preference in terms of like salary, commission, however it's structured, by personality style? Because
no, I think it's just it would be back to Rachel's book, Know Yourself, Know Your Money. It's abundance versus scarcity, or it's we all have one of those. But the scarcity mentality, I would just go with that as an example, and that could be any personality style. But it usually would go back to your the way you were brought up, the household you grew up in, and and you will either react way to the opposite of the way you grew up, or you'll try to do the same thing again. One of the two, but very seldom just in the middle.
Yeah.
Until you look up and you go, wait a minute, the way I was brought up is what's influencing this, not the facts. Feelings are not facts.
Yeah.
And so here's an example. Okay, if you made $300,000 in a white hot real estate market, if the real estate market cools off, you've done enough transactions, you know how to do a transaction. You ought to, it's logical. The facts would indicate that the chances of you making, 1/3 of what you used to make or greater is very high based on your track record.
Right. And how long you've been doing this? You've been doing it longer. You have word of mouth. You have referrals. There's a
You've
base
done enough
now.
transactions that if you didn't make 300, but the market cooled off and you only made 100, but you used to make 70 as a fireman, you still came out ahead.
Yeah.
So that it ought to give you all kinds of emotional breathing room to be able to quit the quote unquote steady job. But here's the problem: people think that where they work is what makes it steady, and it's not. Your talent and ability to land a job doing something is the only thing that gives you stability. And so if you're a high quality salesperson, you can always land a job in doing sales, always, in any marketplace at any time. Now you may have to change. You might be doing medical devices, and later you might be doing cars, or later you'd be doing cars and later you're doing medical devices or pharmaceuticals. I don't care. But a salesperson that knows how to sell and has worked on straight commission and has a high relational IQ, regardless of the personality type, has a proven track record, you're only as secure as your own ability. The fact that it's the government that pays the fireman makes you secure? No. What makes you secure is you have the ability to leave the cave, kill something, and drag it home, and it's proven. That's where your security comes from. And so, and you have to use those, as Dr. John Deloney would say, we use facts are our friends, and the way we overcome trauma is we calm down and we deal with facts, not the emotions of the situation. And I think that releases people to go live their dreams then.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because it's when you break it down like that, it helps people see, I had some beliefs about stable versus unstable job that had nothing to do with what the company is or where the money comes from. We've seen something similar when it comes to nonprofit or for-profit status and building a business. So I work with a lot of business owners, and they say, well, I want to structure my business as nonprofit because I want it to somehow be holy and do work that matters, because as if the IRS designation is somehow the holiness factor. And so we'll attach ideas to statuses, especially in relation to government, that are not actually accurate at all.
But I have a friend that owns a small business that has grown year over year over year over year. For 20 years, he's not made his personal income out of that business that he paid taxes on. For the last 20 years, has not been under $1 million a year. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
But and so is his income stable?
Yes.
For 20 years.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's all but COVID affected it.
Yeah.
COVID could have dried up his market, could have done. But is his income stable? Yes.
Yeah.
His income stable. It's got 20 years.
Right.
Of being able to do this. It wasn't one time.
Right.
And it wasn't just now. This young man here was it was one time, and it is just during COVID and so forth. But he's out there still getting stuff done. There's a lot of real estate agents who haven't even been able to figure out a way to sell a house in this mess, which means you really do need to get out of the business. But because God Almighty, anything can sell a house right now. But but maybe you won't make $300, but you've got $300,000 of income, that many transactions under your belt. That says you know how to look at people and get them to the closing table.
Yeah.
On the purchase of their next home, their dream.
Yeah.
Participate with them in that in a way that causes them to do the transaction.
Yeah.
And so that is stable.
Yeah. And to your point, the
way you're paid or who's paying you doesn't make it stable.
Right. And to your point, your second year, if the market cools off and you take a small dip, your dip is still way ahead of where you were in the fireman job. So you have to look at it in relation to what you're comparing it to, as if somehow 70,000 is stable when you're talking about even a dip would still be way above that.
Which makes his call for most people listening a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But for something inside of him that was holding on to this false notion of where stability comes from, stability comes from your ability. Say it again. Stability comes from your ability. It doesn't come from anywhere else. And God's blessings, but it doesn't come from anywhere else but those two things. This is The Ramsey Show. Christy Wright, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. On the debt-free stage in the lobby of Ramsey Solutions, Chris and Amanda are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Doing very well,
Hi.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome. Good to have you. Where do you guys live?
Ozark, Missouri.
Ozarks. Awesome. Beautiful area, huh?
Yeah,
Really?
it is.
Yeah, cool. And all the way down here to do a debt-free scream. How much did you pay off?
$278,767.
Wow.
Ooh.
How long did this take?
4 years, 1 month, and 19 days.
Love it. And your range of income during that time?
About 130, 135, 140, somewhere in there.
What do you guys do for a living?
We're in higher education, both of us.
Mm-hmm. What are you, professors?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I teach chemistry for a junior college, and she's...
I'm a chair over a Master's of Science in Nursing program, and I teach in that program as well.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Thanks.
So I was going to say 4 years and $279,000 might be a mortgage, but that might be student loan.
Yeah.
A lot of it. We had to pay for a lot of brains.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Between the two of us, we have...
You've been purchasing brains.
Yeah.
Yes, we have 5 degrees between the two of us. It's
Wow.
too much. We over-degreed ourselves. It was
Wow.
bad decisions all around.
That's
but,
okay. I mean,
but,
well,
you know.
you're professors.
We are.
You're
We are
using
using it. Yeah. And
Yeah,
you know
we
what?
are.
Honestly, we're lifelong learners. We love to learn, so it was really good.
And you love to teach.
We love to teach. We love our students, both of us. We're really passionate about it. We just, regrets about getting there, the way that we got there, but that's okay because we were able to get out of it. And now we're kind of on the other
it's
side.
in your
So it's
rearview
okay.
mirror now. Yeah.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how 4 years ago, the time that you finished the last degree then?
Ish. I had.
Well, you
we
finished
started
your
the
doctorate
program.
in the middle of it, though.
Yeah, we started the program about a half a year before I completely finished my PhD.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're doing dissertation and stuff
I
as
was.
you're doing it.
I
Okay.
was. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's your PhD in?
Educational technology. I'm online teaching is sort of my specialty. So
wow,
yeah.
you got a little bit of a future. Wow, talk about stepping into and a dissertation in the middle of the pandemic, huh? Just about.
Well, just leading up to it.
No. You started 4 years ago. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, I am in healthcare, so
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Good for you guys. So, how long so you were working on your PhD? How long y'all been married?
Almost 22 years now.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So somewhere along the line of this journey of gathering degrees and education and lifelong learning and all of this, 5 years ago or so, something happened into the 22 marriage. What happened?
So 2017, late 2016, we just got to the point, or at least I felt like, all the money that was going out, versus all what's coming in, it just ended up being nothing left over. It just felt like a financial abyss at the end of it. So that's how I felt. But what about you?
Yeah, I think that we are both people of integrity, and we knew that we were signing for something that we were eventually going to have to pay. And I think as I got closer and closer to the end of my educational journey, I was watching it come. My friends, some of them were going bankrupt. Some of them were starting to get their bills in the mail because, they don't start billing you for those student loans until you're out. And so I was seeing the size of their bills, and their bills were like mortgage payments or more. And I mean, it was giving me a visceral reaction.
Yeah, I bet.
And I think both of us just went, the piper's coming. Like, we're going to have to figure out a plan to get this taken care of. And we're both people of logic. And it was so nice to have this to sort of latch onto, to say, okay, here's a plan. Here's a proven method that we can use to sort of work our way through step by step.
Yeah. So when you saw
how did you get connected to us?
I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I just was following somebody who used the Ramsey plan.
Cool.
And
we got the book, and we both read it, and we decided we were going to get on board. And I was very, I think it was intimidating to go up against that large number after we actually let the monster out of the closet, because it really felt that way. But and I think, after we started budgeting and actually doing it and following it, then we started gaining confidence.
Yeah.
And since it was such a 4-year long journey, probably in the middle of it felt stagnant, but we were making progress, so we kept going. But the last year went a lot faster. Of course, with COVID, everybody was at home, so there was no way you're going to spend money anyway. So we leveraged the advantage of we were paying off all the student loans at the end because they were the biggest part.
Yeah.
And so we just kept going. It's gone, so we don't have to worry about it.
So I'm interested with the amount of education, and you said we're people of logic. When you because so much of what we do, we approach this through almost emotion, or behavior modification, anyway. But when you laid down like the baby steps in front of you or the debt snowball in front of you, it was just instantaneous. You just saw it and said, "Okay, let's do it."
I mean, I think that I watched other people sort of on YouTube who had done it and were successful. And I said, well, it worked for them. We can make this work for us too. But we've always sort of plowed face first into life and just done things with a lot of confidence that we are a team and we're going to be able to conquer this thing. So I think this was no different. I think we just sort of came into it very confidently. Like, it may take us. And my first calculation, we did the Excel spreadsheet at the very beginning, was that it was going to be 7 years. And we got it done in 4, a little over 4. We just picked up all the overtime and overload that we could pick up. But
what do you attribute the difference?
The difference
between
Focus.
4 and 7. Why?
Oh, I think it just working together at the same goal versus just kind of doing whatever the individual wanted to.
Yeah.
You were able to sacrifice deeper than you thought when you did the spreadsheet.
Yeah, we did. We definitely did.
It's on the shirt. I mean, we're a team, and it's so different working together. It's one of those things, like my students, there's nothing a student hates worse than a group project, really. But it's such a valuable skill to be able to work with another person and to enhance each other's strengths and also work against each other's weaknesses, but also to work towards a common goal. It's more than 1 + 1 is 2. 1 + 1 is 3, is more than that. So
Team Cole does have their own little university emblem there.
They do. I love it so much.
It's pretty cool.
They have uniforms. I love
pretty cool.
it.
Yeah. They probably have a soccer team.
Yeah. We're not sports people.
You're not. What do you mean? I am.
Well done, you guys. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Okay, when people ask, now you paid off $279,000 in 4 years and 1 month. How did you do that? What's the secret to getting out of debt?
I think being a team and sticking to the budget, even if you don't have the confidence yet, I think you gain that over time, and you got to both show up to the meeting. You can't get to escape out on it. You can't get to skip a month.
Yeah, and I think working the plan, you find that plan that works, and then you commit yourself to it. A million people have said this on the show, but you have to submit yourself to the actual plan and not try to do ish.
Nobody's the exception.
Nobody's the exception to the rule. Everybody thinks they're the exception, but the rules are there for a reason, and it works. So
yeah, they're there because they work. No other reason. There's nothing here to punish you. It's to bless you. Yeah. So proud of y'all.
Thank you.
Very well done.
Thank you very much.
Who were your biggest cheerleaders outside the two of you?
Well, obviously the two of us, but we had some family, and then I think
my daughter was amazing. Yeah, she's hi, Allie.
And we got a smart investor who has followed us through this whole thing. So now we're actually using him.
Yeah,
so
he helped us out.
Thank you, Rick. And then we also have an ELP with a realtor. So we're moving.
Yeah, it was one of the coolest things. It was at the end of all of this, we were able to move into our dream home. So
I love it.
Been amazing.
I have to say Tanya's name.
Yeah, Tanya. Okay, yeah. So
Yes. We got a copy of the Legacy Journey for you. That's the next chapter in your story. Legacy is all about what this is all about, and a copy of the Total Money Makeover for you to give away and pay it forward to somebody.
Sweet.
You guys are impressive. Very well done, rock stars.
Yes.
Heroes. Well done. Chris and Amanda from Ozark, Missouri. $279,000 paid off in 4 years and a month, making $135. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1.
We're debt free! I love it! Woohoo! Wow!
That is so awesome.
What a great story.
Golly.
Our scripture of the day, Lamentations 3:22-23. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. Henry Ford said, the only real mistake is the one from which we learn nothing. Chrissy Wright, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today here on the air. Nathan is with us in Minnesota. Hi, Nathan. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hello. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
So I'm currently an accountant for a large company. I've been there about 14 years. My gross income is about $180,000 per year. I'm married. I have 3 small children. My wife and I don't have any debt. We have about $300,000 in IRAs and 401ks through my employer and through my wife's employer. I have about $45,000 in savings. And right now I have the opportunity to buy into a well-established tax practice with one other person. I have a CPA. My half investment into the business would be about a $90,000 share, and the gross proceeds of the tax practice is about $200,000 annually. So my cut of that, my half would be about $100,000, and we would operate it as S corps, each myself and the other individual. And so I'm just trying to assess what that kind of pay cut would mean to my current life situation.
Where you have $45,000, where are you getting the other $45,000 to put the $90,000 into it?
Actually, so I've met with the current tax practice owner and the other person who's looking at buying it, and it would be over basically over a 2-year time frame. So not next tax season, but the following. So by the time I would be transitioning into this tax practice, I would have the $90,000 saved up in cash to just pay for the half of the business.
Okay. And I assume you project that you can grow the business then?
Correct.
Okay. And there's going to be one sub-S Corp, and each of you are going to own 50%?
That's correct.
Okay. All right.
Well, I'm sorry. No, each of us would have an S Corp on our own, and basically so whatever tax returns or whichever clients and tax returns we fill out, we would take those proceeds.
Oh, I see. Okay. And so you would have have a book of business, and he would have a book of business, but you're basically sharing office space.
It's under the umbrella of the larger. Okay.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
Yep.
And that makes it easy to manage, and we know who owns what. Then that you actually own those clients.
That's correct.
Okay, that's good. That's a clean way to do it. I would suggest you get, just as a sidebar, some legal advice on putting together. It's not really partnership agreement, but it might actually be how these two sub-S's are going to interact, share expenses, and you always cover all the negative things. We call them the D's: divorce, drug use, default, disability, death. What happens in the event of these things? And so you address those things up front. But that's a fairly normal process in the type of business that you're going into. Normally, I steer away from partnerships, but this is this is like a medical practice in the sense that, or a law practice in the sense that it's done differently. So I'm fine with it.
Right.
So you make 180. Your wife makes what?
Right now, she's at about 35, but she'll be starting a new job in the fall where she'll be around 60 to 65.
Okay, so you would take an $80,000 pay cut year one, but she would have picked up $35,000 of that.
That's correct.
Okay.
And her concern is around, right now we have very cheap health care through my employer that covers our whole family. And she would work for a school, and her health care package through her employer is not nearly as good as mine. So it's really just the uncertainty around covering our family.
That's whoop-de-doopty. That's not a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah, you just need to run your numbers and create a budget based on this new income. I think when you can see it on paper and see how you can live on this new income, including whatever healthcare increase in healthcare costs, then you're going, oh yeah, we can do it. It just feels scary because you can't see it. You haven't put it on paper yet.
But you make 220 now. You'll be at 160 then, or 165 then, and on your way back to 220. Surely to God, you can make it on 160. You don't have any debt.
Right.
It's that perceived fear we were just talking about.
Yeah, so Chrissy's right. The two of you need to write it down and actually look at it. When you look at actually what the healthcare difference is, it's a pittance compared to your income.
Yeah.
It's not going to be 10% of your income. It's not going to be 5% of your income. It's going to be 2% of your income that's affected by this.
It's that perceived security because it's coming from somewhere else, and now you're going to be doing it on your own. And you just need to see how you can do it, and that will help relieve from some of that.
Yeah, your big hit is going from 180 to 100. That's the big hit. It's not the health care.
Right.
That is substantial.
And I calculated the hours out, and it's only about 6 months of equivalent work versus what I do today in 12 months. It's a little bit of higher volume, obviously, in the tax season, which we'd have to manage through with our little kids and their schedules and things, but then I'd have, late April through December of low.
Now, have you
work,
been responsible in your current situation for building the book of business where you are, or were you just executing widgets?
Yeah, I manage a large portion of one side of the business, so all the budgeting and the financial oversight of it. So,
well, the acquisition of new clients.
No, we're a large
yeah. That's what I'm
so.
talking. I thought so. Okay, so that's a skill you don't have proven that you'll need to get in order to raise your $100,000 income to $200,000.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. So you're going to learn about practice management, marketing, client acquisition, development of new books of business, all of those kinds of things to grow, rather than just simply churning out tax returns. And so that could be the challenge of this situation, but there's tremendous upside. And I love the idea of what you're doing.
Yeah. And you could use those slower seasons to work on those skills and client acquisition.
Yeah, but this is a really good move. I definitely would do this. Haley is with us in Dallas. Haley, I'm short on time. Go straight to your question.
Yes. Hi. I lost my job in September as a director, making $130,000. I'm talking to a recruiter today for a senior director position, Fortune 100 company. I'm trying to negotiate a higher salary, but I'm not sure how much I should negotiate for.
Have you done your research on what the company pays, what the position pays, any of that kind of digging?
Yeah.
I've looked online, and I'm not really sure what to trust as far as the numbers go, but I indicated I wanted $148,000.
Okay, so you've already put a number out there.
I did. She gave me an offer today for $125,000, which was really low, and I told her it was that I really wasn't that I was interested in a higher salary than that.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know, since I lost my job and I haven't really gotten a lot of callbacks. I just didn't want to settle for something low, but I don't know really what's the right salary.
Well, if you're worth $150 in the market, I would wait. Unless you're having trouble paying the bills. Have you got some backlog? Have you got some money?
Yeah, I'm doing good as far as money goes.
Yeah, then don't take a lower job just out of lack of confidence then. But the question is, you need to do a detailed comp study, and more than one site on the internet can help you do that. There's plenty of places. We do comp studies around here all the time on what a senior director in that region where that company is being paid, and present that back to the headhunter and say, look, this is what the comp study says. It says they're $25,000 low. That puts this hour of the Dave Ramsey Show in the books. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.
Hey, it's Kelly, associate producer for The Ramsey Show. This episode is over, but if you heard about an event, product, or service and didn't have a chance to write it down, don't worry. We list everything you've heard about during this episode in the podcast show notes section, or head to theramseyshow.com. Thanks for listening.